This man, the fact that in such a short amount of time, Sid was able to pull the most Chad move ever. The intro to the episode alone, with the generic cliche music, you see him butt-ass naked, and then he just casually gets in the springs, and then you see our girl just sitting there, just shocked and petrified. And the fact that it escalates in a way where she's like, you know what, I wouldn't call that anything impressive, it's more of a worm, and my boy deadass gets up and he's like, you should not judge something before it's unsheathed. The fact that on his way out he takes the towel on his back to give it a nice little smack, and that just triggered something in her, because I am pretty sure I didn't mishear this. I watched it a couple of times. She gets up herself, takes her own towel, and you hear the exact same sound effect that we heard Sid do when he was making his exits, meaning I think she did the same thing to herself during that entire Excalibur exchange. But what an intro, man. In 5 minutes, they established this was going to be a saucy episode, and a saucy episode it was. Now, I do have a full live reaction available on the Patreon if you're interested, of course. What an episode. I think one of the best parts of that entire exchange was actually the rubber duck. So what they did with that, which I thought was really clever, was it started out, they focused on it, it would just kind of move a little bit. But as the episode got more flustering, or the whole hot spring scene got more flustering, it would then tip over and start spazzing out, which I thought was such a great example of what she was feeling during that entire exchange. I mean, it quickly gets into they don't care about either being naked, but I love how he reverses it to no, you're gonna be impressed by the time I leave. And what an intro. And I thought it was great because, you know what, this was an episode that really kind of delivered everything that this show has been known for. We've had spice, we've had background character shenanigans, we've had crazy action, we've had that kind of I want to play in the background, people will think of me as nothing, but I'll be the Eminence in shadow, right? They kind of did a little bit of everything in this episode, while also actually putting Sid a little more in the back seat for a bit, as the girls are kind of fighting over, why is this stupid ass author here? I hate her, I'm gonna step on her foot. Author thinking, well, why are you in the story? It should be the hot elf. That's how everything should be. It's just nice to see that they're giving everyone their little moments to just be comedy gold is probably how I'd put it. And the fact that you end on a conversation, because as we know, Sid is the most diplomatic character out there. He's someone who always talks through things with words. He never jumped in front of swords for background character deaths. He never swings a sword just because he can and he is atomic. No, a conversation with Sid and the Witch of Calamity is of course the most peaceful and less explosive thing ever, but I'm bullshitting you, it was absolutely crazy. What was kind of interesting was it looked like blood magic, but unlike a lot of blood magics where, you're basically using your own in order to do the crazy moves, it didn't feel like it was either her own blood, or if it was, she had such an excess reserve of it because she was not getting winded or wounded from using blood magic, which is typically the direction authors will go when writing it to be a bit of a hindrance or a handicap. But I guess when you're fighting someone like Sid, who is as atomic and has his own Excalibur to wield at a moment's notice, I guess you don't have to give too many limitations because the smiles on both of these psychopaths said it all. And it was kind of fun because when she started to die or whatever, and then she eventually disintegrates, I thought to myself, there's no way that's actually the only time we'll see this character. Either A, that version's gone, but maybe it was just a piece of her, she'll come back, and then immediately the seal activates and it does this really cool animation rather than just going with a generic seal that's a circular motion, which is what almost every magic anime does. Instead, it had this complex kind of it was building into something bigger, and then by the end of the episode, it just looked like chaos erupted. And if that's not a cliffhanger to get you excited for episode 12, then write a better one, because then I'll want the episode even more. But that was a great cliffhanger. I just really like that, for Sid, someone who just continues to be damn it, I just want to, fit in the background. He compliments the background character dialogue behind him because that's who he wants Sid to be, as he comes in looking as cool as he thinks he does and is acting as the Eminence in shadow. But as the viewer, and honestly, every character who knows Sid they think of him as anything other than a background character because they think he's the most, up-and-coming ever. When his name initially gets called, everyone and their mother who knows who Sid is oh yes, of course, he's an amazing fighter, he'll do amazing. And immediately when he's not coming up, they get disappointed because they expected better of him. Like, I just love how unapologetically saucy these episodes have been lately, and the fact that they're not shying away from what it is. I mean, you literally have girls with arguably roughly the same chest size. One is slightly larger than the other, but getting insanely jealous because they think that is a hindrance to the potential Sid relationship. To then even having like this old man just basically because she pulls a notebook out from her secret purse there, and just the fact that they were so disgusted, the other two just looking, you'd be like, bitch, are you serious? This was enough to persuade you to give up information? What is wrong with you? I just really liked it. There was a moment, though, when they were initially building into this, like, tournament. It was like a 1v1, and I guess everyone only fights once. And the fact that you immediately have someone who looks like he just got done playing baseball because his entire getup looks like a baseball getup, and the fact that his sword even kind of reminds me of a baseball bat. I was kind of hoping we'd get to see that match because I was convinced he was going to get his ass handed to him. They didn't really confirm what happens in each of the two that they teased, but it was just something kind of funny because there's already so many modern elements to this world because of Sid and just obviously the mall and everything that we've seen characters connected to Sid basically using those ideas, whether plagiarizing stories or making modern clothing. So I'm not really surprised if some things do remind me of like normal world elements that are now in this kind of like medieval fantasy environment sort of a thing. And I really liked what they were able to do with this episode because, you know what, we're in now the second half of this show. This is a 20 episode anime, and where is it going to go from here? Honestly, we're probably just going to keep on the Eminence of Shadow path, where Sid will continue to discover more and more calamities. He'll probably cause some, then end up solving, if not destroying, extra threats he had no idea about. He'll continue to believe he is truly a background character, while everyone else is like, damn, this dude's amazing, as they also have no idea that, oh yes, the shadow figure that pops up who has that hood over his face isn't actually Shadow, but it's Sid all along. That whole Clark Kent glasses thing, it always is hilarious to me, and I love it. Like, even the general animation when it came to the fight scene, like the way they would like, it was really cool. It kind of felt like lasers bouncing around because there were so many like these red blood spikes all over the place. And the way they just, it felt like Sonic. I mean, at one point he was running around the dome. It was just really funny to see that. And then the way he would come in and just do these badass moves before getting the hell out of Dodge and potentially maybe even causing more chaos than he initially wanted there. But it was nice because it just felt like it had a little bit of all the styles that this show has shown us so far. Slice of life, action, horny, comedy, just a little bit of everything. And I think that's what I'm enjoying about the past couple of episodes. They're not the most explosive per se, but they're just so entertaining and have your eyes glued to the screen. But if anyone had their eyes glued to the screen more than, I would say, the viewers, it has to be our girl in that hot springs being like, oh my, maybe I should judge a sword before it's unsheathed. But oh, what an episode. Definitely one of the funniest moments of the show to date, but I just love how that is just a small part of what made this episode amazing. But I guess small is the wrong word because we don't want to upset Sid, right? But thoughts, feelings yourself down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Like I mentioned, full live reaction is available on the Patreon, and while you're there, you can also get video shoutouts like a few we're about to get here. So we got creative Devin Mitchell and Edray Zahari. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.